All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here.
Jodi there.
And I am sorry I had to bring her along, but I know you came here for me, and I appreciate you for that. Don't worry, I will be here the entire video, I promise you. Today we are checking out another video from a show called QI. Nope, had no jokes for that one. We've already reacted to one of their videos before about the giant tortoise. Or turtle, was it turtle or tortoise? I can't remember.
Tortoise.
Maybe tortoise.
Maybe turtle.
I had a conversation about that with people at work, and I'm just so enamored.
Really?
Like, how good do these things taste? Also, like the fact, like their stomachs or whatever can like hold like a gallon or more worth of fresh water, like not fresh, but what, like uncontaminated water or whatever. I just think that's fascinating. So that was a video that definitely stuck with me. Today we're checking out what?
Oh, as your sidekick, I didn't know if you wanted me to be part of this intro.
I'm allowed to be here. I'll allow you to speak.
Thank you for allowing that. I really appreciate that.
I'm a nice guy.
I won't take up too much time.
Appreciate it.
Why did Hitler have a silly mustache?
Let's go on.
I'll go faster. Why did Hitler have a silly mustache?
What
Faster?
language was that?
Why did Hitler have a silly mustache? Why did Hitler have a silly mustache? Why did Hitler have a silly mustache? Why did Hitler? I'm trying to get faster.
I'm thinking he had a silly mustache because I'm thinking this part of his skin was very sensitive, right? And it just, the razor just like they would go to shave it and he'd go, night! I don't know. Anyways, we're going to see what these, yeah, I made her laugh. We're going to see what these guys say about why he had that silly mustache.
So stupid.
But you got to say, right, that he doesn't have a lot of fans out there. Believe it or not, he does have some fans out there. He does. And I'm not just talking about like the crazy, like,
Nazi people.
Yeah. There's other people out there that are fans of him, not me. But you got to say, like, that silly mustache, it made a mark in history.
It reminds me of the Office episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where Pam dresses up
Charlie
as Charlie
Chaplin.
Chaplin. She's like, I can't even take the hat off because then I look like Hitler.
Like, yeah, I guess nobody here dresses up for Halloween. I'm the only one here.
And I use freaking grease paint.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and check this out.
Yeah.
If you like our reaction anyway, please don't forget to
like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be aware of our next uploaded video.
I'm going to be so proud if they use a version of my joke.
Oh my gosh. You'd be like a soon-to-be comedian.
I sure am. Here we go.
Now, if I could be serious for a moment. More than 100 million people were killed in wars during the 20th century. Absolutely. And the total number of people ever killed by wars could be as many as 1 billion. Einstein described war as a cloak that covers acts of murder. And Antoine de Saint-Exupéry called it a disease like typhus. With all that in mind, here is my question to you. Why did Hitler have such a silly moustache?
I was on the wrong show for a minute. I got very serious.
I'm sure you'd agree with my description of war there, wouldn't you?
I would absolutely. This is a difficult show for me to be on because I'm a Quaker pacifist. So I'm not an ideal person.
Were you born a Quaker?
No, I wasn't. I was a Quaker by convincement, as they call it.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Convincement?
Because my family, the Fry family, were very early Quakers.
Of course they were. Of course they were.
It's a very admirable thing, and the pacifism is taken very seriously, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a lovely thing until Hitler comes along, and then it's not much use.
Well, if we'd have done something about it before Hitler came along, then maybe it would
Shaved his moustache
And I
off.
think the reason he had that moustache is he was probably a fan of Oliver Hardy.
Ah, well, it's certainly true that they were popular in the 20s and increasingly in the 30s. Well, Charlie Chaplin, of course, is best known. But supposedly Hitler changed from what was a relatively bushy moustache. You may have seen a famous photograph of him as a Gefreiter, corporal in the First World War. There he is on the left. But there are a couple of stories. No one's quite sure which is true. There was a fellow who served with him, Alexander Moritz Fry, great-uncle Alexander. He was in the same regiment in the First World War as Hitler, and he said that Hitler trimmed it into the familiar toothbrush in order to fit into the gas mask properly. Fry's account is controversial, apparently. He went on to become a satirist and fantasy novelist, starting a family tradition.
So here's the point about Hitler. He's judged very harshly by history, but he did kill Hitler.
I love that. I was so nervous about what he was going to say.
Yes.
Credit when credit is due.
That's true. Some historians believe that Hitler only adopted the tash in 1919, and his sister-in-law, who lived in Liverpool, She had one as well. She married one. Do you know what her name was?
Muriel.
Almost, as it were.
Gauss Adolf.
Bridget Hitler.
Bridget Hitler.
Yeah, that was her name. Bridget Hitler.
Bridget Hitler?
Yeah. Yes, she was married to Alois Jr., who was Hitler's half-brother. And they had a son, William Patrick Hitler.
Billy Hitler.
William Patrick Hitler went to America and won a Purple Heart in the Navy.
Changed his name, I presume.
Eventually, to Stuart Houston, I think. And he claimed he wanted to forget anything to do with his uncle, but he named his first son Alexander Adolf Stuart Houston. Anyway, yes, Bridget, in her memoir, said that he came to visit Liverpool and that she told him that he should trim the ends of his moustache to make it less bushy. But, as she put it, as in most things, he went too far. Put him in his place.
Oh, I wanted so much more from that conversation.
I did think it was funny how he's like, but you know, Jimmy Carr said how Hitler does need credit because he did kill Hitler.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great joke. And I love how he's like still in Jimmy Carr character there. Like he seems like he has like that kind of like serious look, but you know he's going to say something either outlandish or just hilarious in its own right. I do like the concept of this show, if I'm understanding it's supposed to have the comedy elements, because these first two have, where you talk about like actual historical stuff, but you bring in a little humor. I don't think any of it's planned. It's just like off the cuff kind of stuff. I do like that kind of format for a show. I am enjoying this. I had a hard time trying to find more of these on there that weren't like super duper long or like 30 seconds long. So let us know if you have any other requests. But I did not know, because I've never taken 2 minutes out of my life to try to study more about Hitler and his family. I did not know that who's his nephew, they said, came to America, won a Purple Heart. That's pretty crazy. Wanted to separate himself from that, thank goodness. But then, yeah, why do you use... I don't care if it was like a 10-generation tradition to put Adolf in your family names. I think it's okay at that point. We need a new tradition. Let's call him Bob or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I know a little bit about Hitler in the sense of who he is, but I tend to focus a lot more on like World War II and all the individual stories. That's how a lot of people, do. I'm very, very much into the historical fiction, and as much as those stories break my heart, I enjoy reading them and teaching them, because I think the biggest problem I have is that you have these people who truly believe that World War II did not happen. And like they're willing to like go to bat to say like it's all made up and it's a hoax. And that scares me. Like that absolutely scares me. Because like the lady said, this wouldn't have happened if we stepped in sooner. If people had stepped in sooner and stopped it. And, you know, it's a big would have, could have, should have situation. And there's a lot that involved it. And I don't think anybody thought it was going to go as far as it did. And you can't say what should have happened when, you know, it's too late. It's past now. And some people are saying, well, hey, look at Ukraine and Russia right now. Like, why is nobody coming in and stopping? But again, there's a lot of extra things that are going on with it.
Political nonsense that goes in there. And you say it's easy for me to say nonsense. I'm not a politician. I don't have to make those decisions. But there's so much political situations and implications that arise out of that. I don't want to get too much on that, but you're absolutely right about that. But it is crazy. You know, I've seen so many movies. And speaking about movies, the movie Valkyrie, I'm sure you've seen with Tom Cruise. That's a great movie about could have been, right? And I think a lot of that was based off truth. But man, you know the truth. You know the history. I don't want to spoil anything. But what's supposed to happen in that movie, when it does it, you're still kind of surprised, even though you know the history. But with movies, so many movies are all about like the villain trying to take over the world, take over the universe, whatever it is. It's crazy how he was making it happen. And that would have been just a terrifying time to live. Especially here in the States, you're coming off of World War I, which was just, and it was worse for Europe, obviously, but you're coming off of that nonsense and all those deaths. Then you got the Great Depression. Just when the economy starts to come back up, you got the Great Depression going on, and then you have that situation. I mean, the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s were just like, holy cow, just like disastrous times. So much crazy things happen, but also with that, you have so many amazing stories of history, valor, this or that going on.
And I know, because you said, especially in America, people are going to say, oh, that was way away from everything. we know Europe and England and all that were much more involved in the war before the United States stepped in. It's just what we know from our.
Absolutely. But the Great Depression, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure economically, I don't even know this. Economically, probably the whole world suffered during that point. It's usually not just one world power that suffers. But that's why I mentioned that was because the Great Depression had that situation. But anyways, like this show. Let us know if there's more you want us to react to. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time.
Goodbye.